There's no doubt at all that addressing the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals requires an enormous mobilisation of capital, public and private. To achieve the SDGs by 2030 in the emerging markets alone is going to cost $2.5 trillion. It's vital that public and private sectors, NGOs, development finance institutions work together to achieve a transition to net zero, and we all know it's really urgent and important. But there's something else we need to be aware of: the mobilisation of that scale of capital and what it will do to people and communities in terms of their jobs and their lifestyles mean that the scale of change requires us to bring people along with us as well. And that means as we think about a transition to net zero, we have to think about making it a fair and equitable one. A just transition that thinks about people and communities as well as the climate, engaging with them, helping them to make the change with us. And that is never more important than when private capital starts to work alongside public and development aid. It's really important we as investors think very hard about making the transition a just one. The principles of doing that are that we need to be absolutely committed to climate change, to outcomes. We need to be committed to achieving social justice and redistribution as well. And we need to think very hard about how we involve communities in decisions that are going to shape not just their futures, but their children's futures and beyond. We call it a just transition at the Impact Investing Institute, working with others. And we're doing a lot of work as part of a G7 task force to make this aspiration very real, very concrete and practical. We're looking at ways in which we can help institutional investors, politicians, development agencies to work together in a framework that will enable this transition to be fair and involve a redistribution of equity. By doing so, we think we can achieve faster results, not slower results. One of the pushbacks is often the climate urgency is so great we can't stop. But we all know that the better the planning is, the better the execution, and the more sustainable the results. As we mobilise these huge amounts of capital, particularly for emerging markets where resources are more stretched and yet climate damage will be greater, we need to think about how to make this just and fair. In our work for the G7 Impact Task Force, the Impact Investing Institute is working with others to find opportunities and demonstrate the way in which, around the world, we've already financed just transitions. We'll be showcasing examples, giving opportunities for others to invest, and identifying vehicles for people to work behind. We want to do something which is sustainable, that will last for several years, and enable the mobilisation not just of the 2.5 trillion we need, but beyond and through the 2030 target. I hope you'll work with us to make that a reality. Thank you.